So you got your new truck, and we're going to talk about the items that you would need to add to it to make it a safe off-road trip, instead of going out there and being like, oh, I'm going to tear something up and be stuck out here. So these are the items to will ensure that you can get out and go off-roading and come back. So let's get started. So the first item is, of course, tires. You need, in my opinion, 32-inch minimum tire. You can go 33-inch sometimes, 34, 35. You can go up to 38 and 40s. But for most of the trails out there, a 32-inch tire is going to get you through it, and it's going to be very enjoyable and fun. You start getting into the 40-inch tire, and you have to to have a little more fun, you got to go on these extreme trails where a 32-inch tire, you can go on the easy to medium trails, which is up to like a 7 rating trail, and you can have a ton of fun because it's a smaller tire and it gives you a lot more challenge to it. So that's why I say a 33-inch tire, something around there, you're going to have a ton of fun when you're off-roading with this size of a tire. Now, this is the one that is controversial, because technically you don't need it, but it makes my gut just crunch whenever I hit my differential on a rock and it just stops my truck dead. I mean, you'll be going along and boom, it stops, 3,000 pound, 4,000 pound truck dead on its tracks. And it makes my gut wrench when that happens. So you get these skid plates on your differentials front and back, and this is a Jeep one here. You get this on your front, and it will skid over it instead of it going crunch. You'll hear it a little bit, but it'll skid over it, and it just makes your trip so much better, so much more fun. Instead of just getting that boom, and you think you tore something up, it'll skip right over it. These are the lowest parts of your truck, so it not only is it protecting it, but it's just not going to scare the heck out of you when you hit a rock on these things. So another thing is, see the angle here? See how it has a swoop here and a swoop down here? Make sure you get the ones that have the swoops on the front and back, and not the ones that just bolt on. Because the ones that bolt on, you're getting a little bit of protection, but you're not getting that angle to skip over the rock easier. So get those ones that has these little scoops on it. And here's a rear differential one for a Jeep. You can see it has a nice swoop angle here and a good one back here. So you definitely want a good swoop angle on these. And on the Tacoma, this is the one I have on my Tacoma. I love it. I've used it a lot. You can see a lot of wear marks on the bottom. Solid steel. It works. I love this thing because instead of hitting a rock and just stopping me dead in my tracks, it just makes this little skid noise. Love it. I feel so much better when I hit a rock and it just skips right over it. It feels good. So on the Tacoma, you need front skid plate. These are pretty cheap. I think they're like $100, not bad. And then a rear skid plate. This rear skid plate is for your transmission and your transfer case. They have many options out there for Tacoma, but this one is one piece, so you're not having to buy 2 different sets, and it has the cross brace already with it. This is one I have on my truck because it was simple. It was one piece setup, and it covered everything I needed it to protect. Now, going to the Jeep, this is something you may or may not need. If you're not going to go over 18, 19, 20-inch rocks, then you probably don't need these. But if you are going to be going over, some big, massive, obstacles, I would suggest getting rock sliders. Now, for the Jeep people, you guys have it made, because everybody that has a Jeep that wants to buy the bigger rock sliders, they get rid of their old rock slider on Facebook Marketplace. And now the old one isn't one that sticks out far, but it's still a rock slider protection. So it gives you some protection, and you can pick these things up for like 50, 60 bucks. So you Jeep people have it made to buy these, not this one that sticks out farther, but the littler rock slider. 50, 60 bucks, I would go for that in a heartbeat. Now the Tacoma. I have a Tacoma, and this is the only sad thing about having a Tacoma. These rock sliders cost like $900 to $1,200. They are very expensive. They're very beefy because they hook straight to your frame. You need the ones that hook to your frame and not to your unibody structure, because those are just going to bend and break on you. You have to have the frame mounted ones. And like I said, these things are like, $1,000 or more. I've seen them for $1,400. They're insane. What I suggest is, unless you want to spend the money, go and it takes a long time, but you can hunt on Facebook Marketplace. It took me a year of looking on Facebook Marketplace to find a set of these. I found a set for $400. It ended up being, they were asking $600. I got them down to $400. I got lucky, and I had to drive, it was about maybe 40-minute drive to get them, but $400, it's so much cheaper than $1,400. So took a year to find them, but it was worth the wait, to spend $400 instead of $1,400 for these things, and there are, some cheaper options, but it's hard to find them. Now, tow hooks and tow straps. These are something you need, and this one right here is one you do not get. Never get this one. See these steel shackles that are built onto the end here? You will hook this up, and you'll be hooking it to this steel shackle, and you'll be doubling these two ropes together. Now you have a steel shackle in the middle of your pull, and that is dangerous, very dangerous. If this rope breaks or the shackle breaks here or something breaks, this steel shackle is going to be flying at you, and it's going to hit your truck or your windshield at massive, massive speeds, and it's going to kill you. There's a good chance this will kill you. So do not get these. I know they're like $15 cheaper, but do not get these. It's not worth $15 for your life. You got to get these ones. These styles right here are the ones to get for a tow strap. This has no metal on it. You can put a soft shackle if you need to hook two of them together. And a soft shackle is going to hit you, and it's not going to go through your windshield. It's not going to kill you. If for some reason you got in the way of the strap, it's going to hurt really bad, but chances are it's not going to kill you. The metal one is going to kill you. So get these. And this is the soft shackle strap that I was talking about. You can get the hard shackles too, the steel ones, the D-rings. But I would suggest getting two of these soft shackles, because you're going to have to tie a couple ropes together in the middle, and this is what you need to tie multiple ropes together. And then there's the D-ring. D-rings are only supposed to be hooked to your vehicle. If you're hooking this directly to your connection on your vehicle, and a strong connection on your vehicle, that's the only place the D-ring should be used. And I say get a couple of them. It doesn't hurt to have a couple of them on you. And then, we're talking bare minimum here, a come along. If you don't have a winch, you don't have a lot of these other accessories, a come along will get you out of trouble. You hook your straps up to it, and you just pull the come along over and over and over. It takes a long time, but a good thing is, chances are very good you're not going to get stuck, because you got the right tire and you got the right lift. Make sure, like if you have a Toyota Tacoma off-road, I would suggest a 2-inch lift on that. And even the Jeep Gladiators, put a 2-inch lift on them, kind of a minimum. This is a good level where you're not going to be going into, a lot of the equipment, but you can get a little bit of lift out of it. 3-inch, you're borderline of going to start wearing some parts down. So that's why I say a 2-inch lift. And like I said, a good come along is going to save you when you need to be saved. And of course, the radios. These radios you don't need special licenses for. It's the Baofeng, and this is the one product I will advertise, not because I'm getting paid for it, but because it's cheap. This thing is so cheap, and it works. It's loud. I'm hard of hearing, and this thing is loud. I can hear everybody really clear, and I just love it. It has little clips. You can mount these clips on the back of the radio so you can clip it to your shirt. I just love this radio because, like I said, it is dirt cheap, and I can clip it to my shirt. I can hear it because like I said, I'm very hard of hearing. The military kind of blew my ears out a little bit, but this is the radio to have, and I say get it. I've had this out there for a lot of times, and it's taken the beating. If you drop one in the mud, it's done. It's toast. Pretty much all radios are toast if you drop them in the mud, but this one, it ain't gonna hurt your feelings when you drop it in the mud. $10-12 you dropped in the mud. Who cares? Go get another one. And if you get another one, they all have the same radio frequencies, so it's 1 through 16, and you just turn it on channel 16 or 15 or 14 or whatever channel you are sharing, and then you just use it. I love this. It's, like I said, cheap, easy. And a final thing is find some, Facebook groups where, find out where people are going for off-roading. Even go with them for off-roading. A lot of people go on those Facebook groups and they'll post and say, hey, I'm going out this weekend to this spot. Anybody want to come? And you can just write them, yep. Send them your information, and then you can both go out to a nice off-road area, and then you got a backup person. You got somebody that can pull you out, or you can pull them out. So it's really, really nice to have a backup person. If you don't have one offhand, then go to those Facebook groups, and they'll be able to help you out. They're going to be like, hey, anybody going out here this weekend? You can say, yep, I'm going, and you can both go. All set. So that's my suggestions for going off-roading, your basic setups. And like I said, the skid plates for your differentials, they're not a necessity, but when I didn't have them before, every time I hit my differential, it made me screech in my gut. So it's nice to have that. Well, that's it. And if you like what we're doing, please subscribe, and we'll see you next episode.